For the next section of the meeting, we will be moving on to evaluations, which will be led by Bhanodai Pippala.
We're a little behind schedule, so I'll rush this. Essentially, as general evaluator, I will lead the third and final section of the meeting. This section aims to improve everyone else's speeches and even performances throughout the meeting, such as table topics, grammar, off-camera, and so forth. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first evaluator of the day, Nasir, who will be evaluating Tyler Burnett's speech.
So this is Tyler Burnett's third speech of this manual, and the name of his speech was Stefo, right?
Stefo. Stefo.
Okay.
Same.
So I'll go with Stefo. So the objectives of his speech was to prepare a proposal advocating an idea of a course of action, and then organize the proposal using the 6-step method provided. He uses his own method, so it's 5 steps. So basically, the objective of this proposal was to bring in the new year with a change of your thought method when you communicate with other people and communicate with new ideas. And then, following along the guide, the proposal, it was directed to the audience. It was, I think it's a great topic for today's audience because we're all college students, so we're all gaining knowledge in our different fields. So we might go to people outside of college or in your own household where you say something to them and then they have their own opinion and they say you're totally wrong even though you took 13 hours on this and read the whole textbook of this certain topic. So this is a good method to use when you're communicating with them to even try to change their thinking or try to educate them or something, or you try to educate yourself. And then following along, the only thing that could be better is you did address the positive of all the steps. The only thing is you didn't address the negative as well. I remember the only negative I remember was for form opinion. You said if you don't form an opinion, you just sit on the fence, then you're never getting anywhere, you're just going to be on the fence all the time. So bringing negatives in would provide a more balanced view on this new method. And then just stage speaking tips for the Stefo method, I would have it would have been easier to see if you just designated a part of the stage for each letter of the thing. So S right here, T right here, E, so on. That would have really helped to distinguish the different types in the method, and then came back in the front for the wrap up. So overall, it was a good speech. I really like the topic. Stefo. I kind of like Stefo more, but I'm gonna call it Stefo. I'm gonna take Stefo. I use it in my today's life because some people, they don't like to think. Thank you.
Thank you, Nasir. And a quick reminder, again, 2 minutes is a minimum for evaluators, 3 minutes is the maximum. We'll cut you off at 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Hopefully you won't have to do that. Our second evaluator of the day is Ryan Charnoky, who will be evaluating Zach's speech.
Is that good? Yeah. Is that good, Zach? Okay. Great speech. You're a very natural speaker. You have a good tone of voice, and it seems to come naturally from you. You move around the stage well. You use your hands, gestures, things that are difficult for other people seem effortless for you, and that's a great job. Some things I wasn't a fan of. Your opening line, you started with "Good evening, everyone." And I love the opening line because it's an opportunity to really hook everyone and engage everyone and really get them thinking about what your speech is about, wanting more. And something as vague or normal as "good evening" just kind of almost instantly loses some attention from people. You're almost adjuring the audience in that way. So you could do, just a cool, clever hook would be awesome to get people's engagement. I loved your use of examples. You started going into different speeches and poor mannerisms. You used different areas on the stage to demonstrate that. That was great. But your speech seemed to stutter. You used words like literally a lot, like a lot, and I think you could be more succinct in those areas, a little bit more prepared. And just to kind of, be more succinct about kind of getting your point across. You initially came out saying this is going to be a very interactive speech, and then you had like 2 small demonstrations. So it kind of seemed like a false promise for the audience. I was looking forward to it. Your demonstrations and interaction were great, though. I did like the power stance example. Don't call people's names if you don't know them. That was a big, you lose a lot of people. You disengage that person, it's not a good look. But I think, it's okay. Work around that, though. Like, if you're in the middle of a speech and, you try something and you realize you don't forget their name, be like, this place, instead of, what's your name? I feel like you could work around that, kind of adapt in the situation, just to avoid asking, what's your name? At one point, you got up here and started doing motions and demonstrated good posture and good actions you can take. And you said you can do this, you can do this. It seemed like you meant to say you should do this, or it's a best practice to do this. It just seemed a little vague. I wasn't sure what you were trying to get across with that. Again, be more succinct about your point there. And then you had a quote, you were like, these rules are meant to be broken, which is an interesting point, and I think you're valid, but it seemed inconsistent with your speech when you're talking about bad practices and emotions, actions, and then you kind of turn around and be like, rules can be broken. In a short speech, doesn't seem to, you should stick to one or the other. Although it's valid, it seemed to kind of contradict your point. But overall, you did a great job, and I want to applaud you on that. Again, I liked your audience interaction. The question was great. It really engages everyone. And you gave some analogies for people that were poor speakers, which really enacted a visual in the audience's mind, at least my mind, about like something with a dog, if I recall, over here. That was cool, and just painted a picture in our minds. Great job with that. And you have you use pauses really well. So again, a lot of things that come naturally for you that don't for other people. So the thing I'll leave you with, just try to be more concise in the future. It's my challenge. But good job.
Thank you, Ryan, for evaluation. And now, the third and last evaluation of this meeting, I'd like to introduce to the stage Onur Beytulov, who will be evaluating Tyler Chan's speech.
Okay, Tyler was presenting from the Advanced Communicator series, the storytelling one, and his purpose for this speech was to tell a story about a historical event or a person. And the first point was the plot of the story clear? I think you used a lot of descriptive, you explained everything very well, so we clearly knew where you were going and everything there was to know about the story. And the next part is, to what degree did the speaker succeed in building the story to a climax? With all the information and background information he gave us about Michael, we got to know Michael as a person and we got to understand his identity. So you did a great job building him up, and the climax, if you hadn't told me about this story earlier, I would have been blown away. And so I think you did a great job in that aspect. And in addition to that, that also helped develop the character, because I don't think any of us have ever met Michael, but we can go away from today knowing a little bit about Michael, how he was set up to basically be almost the ideal student in UGA, and his whole life got turned around. One place where I feel like you could use some improvement, I noticed you were, in your story, you were building him up as the ideal student, and then you said this part, but in 2016, he joined EITS. And I like what you did there. You gave a little bit of a pause, and then you inflected a little bit of like foreshadowing, of omen, of things to come. I feel like at that exact moment, that is a pivotal moment of your speech. You can bring that out more. You can exaggerate. The pause was great, but you could use more, some body motion, a little bit of different vocal writing to really engage the readers and go, what's about to happen? So you did great with that. And then the climax, again, you did a great job. You built it up. I feel like you could also use a little bit more vocal variety. Talk about like, he was the great. Start off maybe at a normal volume and build it up and slowly increase it. And then again, you did a great job with the pause and then drop it. He was convicted of 86 felonies. Just give it to him straight. Just shock the audience. Completely stun them. And in addition to that, you did. It was a very good speech, and I really did like your intro. How you started it off. It was a very good introduction. You mentioned that you were going to talk about the double-factor authentication and how it all began, and the transition from going from that into telling the story about Michael seemed seamless. It was a very smooth transition, so that was a good job. And I think one of the best ways to know that this was a good story, and one of the signs of a very good storyteller, is at the end of a story, you can walk away with it and feel confident telling someone else the same exact story. And you're able to feel the passion that Tyler had with this story. So I'm looking forward to telling all my friends about double-factor authentication. Good work, Tyler.
Thank you to our 3 evaluators for this meeting. I'd like to now quickly move on to our reports. First, I'd like Jake, if you don't mind giving us our grammarian report of the meeting.
Overall, everybody was very articulate for the most part. Tyler used the word "and" quite a bit, and he used a lot of run-on sentences.
Which one?
Tyler Burnett.
Gotcha.
So like it was very like I understood exactly what he was getting at. He moved forward very methodically. He just had some run-on sentences with the word "and." Nadia was speaking so fast that the sentence structure was just incomprehensible. So it was just very tough to understand that. Vivian was laughing, so there was a lot of incomplete sentences, but it was funny, so I'll leave it. And Lima had some run-on sentences where there was no clear break, and she would just keep going. Linda, I held her to a higher standard because it seems like she has a lot of professional experience. She used the one-word sentence chocolate, which was good, but grammatically it would have been like, I would be, and then a little bit of pause maybe, and then say chocolate. But other than that, everybody was very articulate. For the most part, I would just say that the table topics were, again, the toughest one, and speeches were really good, and the grammarians were actually, or not the grammarians, that's me, which is obviously my grammarian is really good. But the evaluators were actually very articulate in the way that they spoke, and they didn't make any mistakes that I can think of.
Good job. Walk counter, Lima, do you mind?
No, I don't.
Cool.
So first, I would like to commend everyone who spoke today for speaking because it takes a lot of courage. Overall, you all did really well with your vocal hiccups, meaning they're low. So for the speeches, start off with the speeches. Tyler B, I counted 5 vocal hiccups. Mostly they were and so, or and so. Zach, I counted 2 vocal hiccups, 1 and 1 you know. Tyler Chan, I counted 1 you know. For the evaluators, Bhanodai, 0. Nasir, the evaluator Nasir, I counted 13, and most of them were uhs, and likes. Ryan, I counted 8. Most of them were uhs, likes, and you knows. And you seem to be cognizant of whenever you would do it, because I know you would cut yourself off and you'd say and then like kind of catch yourself. It's hard though. Onur, I counted 2 ums. Table topics. Nadia, I counted 3. They were likes. Akib, I counted 5 ums. Table topics. Nasir, I counted 7 ums. Vivian, I counted 2 likes. Yi, okay, I counted 2 and so. Alex, I counted 0, and Linda, I counted 0.
Great job. Very in-depth report. That's certainly what we love. Trisha, would you like to give us our timing report? We're all evaluators in time first.
Yes, all of them.
Awesome.
So for speakers, just Tyler Burnett, you were with including the 30-minute grace period, there's an additional 50 seconds being ran off. But other than that, everyone else was on time. Same with table topics, everyone was in time as well as that.
Cool. Everyone made the minimum?
Yes.
Perfect, awesome, love to hear that. Now my turn for a quick 2 to 3 minute evaluation of the whole meeting overall. Evaluators, Nasir and Onur, great job bringing in the objectives to your evaluation. Just make sure you use the stage more. You're not only speaking to the person you're evaluating, but the audience overall. Ryan, great job making it natural by not using any notes. One thing I would change is it kind of broke your flow. Every time you went to this table, spoke to the audience, you had such a great evaluation, it just kind of belittled it by just kept awkwardly going over and over again to this table. But that's really it from evaluations. Great job overall from that perspective. Toastmasters, Serena, great job overall. I noticed that you used notes, but you didn't read off of it. Tyler Chan, this is your speech, and said you just looked at it for a second just to make sure you got all the details in. Good job overall with the meeting. Everything was organized. You contacted me days before. Not the day before, like Sunday, but I think you contacted me Friday, or if not earlier. Great job with that. That's a small detail. I've had Toastmasters contact me, I think, the day of the meeting, and I'm like, no, that's not what you're supposed to do. Again, next person to get roasted or commented, Victor, table topics. Overall, great job. This was a different style. Typically, you say the question first, and then you pick the person. And they don't really have a choice to go up or not. But this is an interesting format. Maybe we'll experiment it throughout the semester and see how it works out. One thing I would improve upon is make sure to not call individuals who have roles in this meeting, such as Nasir and Liyama. Overall, though, great diversity in the individuals you chose for this meeting. Good job overall. And I feel like I'm forgetting one person. Myself? No, general notes for the meeting. We started on time. Yeah, Toastmaster already got that. General meeting notes, make sure to examine the balance of the room. I noticed that there weren't as many people on this side. If you notice that, just try to make sure to sit over there, because it's kind of distracting. We have 20 people over here and 5 people over here. One of the main focuses or points that Zach brought in his speech is eye contact. So it's kind of weird if we just focus on this side of the room while the 5 people here also deserve some attention too. So just try to equal it out. Again, nothing bad, just to keep in mind for next meeting. And one of the major points is making sure that we end the meeting on time, and so far I think we will, including announcements and such before 7 p.m. I know that was a thing that was brought up in the feedback form, so thank you all for those who did fill that out. If you have any other feedback, make sure to fill it out for General Evaluator on your ballot and your best evaluator. You have 3 options: Nasir, Ryan, and Onur. Thank you all. I will now call back to the stage Serena.
Thank you, Bhanodai, for leading that section of the meeting. Now, I just want to thank you guys for allowing me to be your Toastmaster for today. And I hope that you guys will also evaluate me on the ballots. And by now, your whole ballot should be completely in the little black box. And with that, I'd like to call up the president, Tyler Chan.